Yeah, I wanted to talk about the AWA. The AWA was founded in the 1950s. What happened was, like I said before, plenty of times, uh, there was the the NWA champion was the main champion, and all the other territories were regulated by the NWA, and they used the NWA champion. Um, but Vern Gagne, who was climbing up the ranks, he thought that he should be the champion. He thought he should have a shot at the NWA champion, but the other promoters, they didn't think he was big enough nationwide because the NWA champion had to be able to go to different territories, work with either a heel or a babyface, depending on what the champion himself was philosophically. So if he was a heel, he had to work with all the top baby faces in the company in other territories around the country, and if he was a baby face, he had to work with other heels in other territories around the country, top heels, and be able to draw money. In every territory, he had to be able to go to New York and draw money, Texas and draw money, Mississippi draw money, Oklahoma, Kentucky, everywhere. Puerto Rico, Hawaii. Puerto Rico was run by Carlos Colon. Hawaii was run by the Maivias, um, everywhere. And they didn't really think that Vern Gagne was over enough outside of Minnesota to draw money. So Vern Gagne decided, look, he bought Les Thatcher's territory, and he decided to say, well, you know what, the hell with it. And he made his own promotion, the AWA. And in the AWA, the emphasis was on athleticism. I mentioned before about Memphis. Memphis was all about the gimmicks and stuff. AWA was not like that at all. AWA was real wrestlers. Vern Gagne had an amateur background, so Vern Gagne brought in people like grapplers like Billy Robinson and technical sound wrestlers like Nick Bockwinkel and Ray Stevens and stuff, and things like that. People like that, people that had a real athletic background, like even Ken Patera. Um, Other mainstays in the territory was his son, obviously Greg Gagne, who was a tag team partner with Jim Bronzell, the High Flyers. As a matter of fact, when Bronzell left the territory in the late 1980s to go to the WWE to form the Killer Bees with B. Brian Blair, Vince McMahon wanted Greg Gagne to come, but of course Greg was loyal to his father, so he stayed behind. Um, Ray Stevens and Nick Bockwinkel were tandem, a really formidable tandem in the territory as part of the Heenan family. Larry D.X. Henning, who was managed originally by Bobby Heenan, was known as Pretty Boy Henning. But then when he came back, he attacked Stevens and Bockwinkel and turned on Bobby Heenan, just like his son would later turn on Bobby Heenan in WWF. Um, Speaking of his son, Kurt Hennig was also a well-known tag team wrestler along with Scott Hall in the territory, and a former AWA heavyweight champion. Also, Kurt Hennig. Um, Others that were known in the territory, obviously the Bruiser and Crusher, they were so over in that area because same thing with Baron von Raschke. You had a lot of people in the Midwest that were of German descent, Scandinavian, so, and they were real heavy beer drinkers. So, you know, they really attached themselves to wrestlers like the Bruiser and the Crusher. Um, you know, a lot of people got their start there. Like I said, Bobby Heenan, Mean Gene Okerlund, Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan came to the territory after he was fired from the WWE for starring in the Rocky movie, and Vern saw the writing on the wall. Vern knew that Hogan wasn't a great wrestler, but he was going to emphasize his strengths, and he did that. And the only thing that with Vern, he would never put the belt on Hogan because Hogan wanted half of his merchandise. Hogan began to merchandise the Hulkamania character, and Vern, was loving it, but at the same time, he didn't want to share the profits with Hogan. So Hogan was out of there, went back to WWE, and the rest is history. But others who got their start there was the Midnight Rockers. Shawn Michaels came in there from Mid South, and Marty Jannetty came in there from Bob Geigel's territory, the Central States, and they formed the Midnight Rockers, and they had legendary feuds with um, Buddy Rose and Doug Summers, managed by Sherry. In the late 1980s, they tried to go national, but um, but it just didn't work out for them. Similarly to the way that the NWA had the TBS deal and the WWE was a national brand. They tried to go on ESPN, but it was just too far gone. Once Dr. D. David Schultz and Mean Gene Okerlund and excuse me, Bobby Heenan left. It was just too far gone. They tried to rebuild it with lesser stars like Larry Zbyszko and Scott Hall. It just didn't work out. And they also tried the Super Clash thing with World Class and Jim Crockett Promotions and Memphis. Also didn't work out either. So in 1991, Vern sold his territory and he went out of business. He sold to the WWE. Um, Vern also made a movie in 1974, and one of the wrestlers that was there was Dusty Rhodes. And Dusty got his start in the AWA. So did Ricky Steamboat. So did Ric Flair. So did so many others. It was just a really awesome territory. And WWE released a DVD of them in 2006, and Vern Gagne and Nick Bockwinkel went to the WWE Hall of Fame. Yeah.